Alright guys, it's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 229. And even though this was a setup chapter, this was a fairly simple quick chapter, so for this review it's going to be quick, at least by my standards. You know, a lot of you long-time viewers, you know that, hey, this is probably a quick review for me because normally I could do like a 10 to 12 minute video because I just go in deep with the review. So without any further ado, let's just get into a review, guys. So this chapter, really fun to read, simply for the reason that there was a lot of world building. Usually when you get to shonen mangas or animes, you know, for those of you who only watched it in the anime version, but usually with a lot of shonens, what you see is it relies very heavily on the action, and that's not the case in this chapter. We have a lot of world building. We find out more about what's going on the Grand Line, and how the further you go into the Grand Line, the more wonky things get. So this was really cool to see. In particular, I like how Oda incorporated a little bit of science into this mysterious current that's going to shoot the going merry or the merry-go high into the sky. I like that because he talks about how the cold air and the warm air underneath the water, like the different currents have to meet, and once that happens it compresses, creates the explosion, goes right up into the air, and it lasts for a minute. So this was really good, and when he's explaining all of this, it really looks like Nami's the only person who's able to follow. And when you look at the fact that Zoro completely knocked out, you look at the fact that Sanji's kind of out of it, and you have Luffy and Usopp and Chopper there, and it's just like between the three of them, not sure who has the brain on their shoulders at this point. And speaking of brain on the shoulders, god dog, man, I was not expecting this to happen. Somebody actually called Luffy smart. This was like the one thing out of this whole chapter that just threw me all the way off. Has me sitting there reeling at this point, because Chopper looks at him and says, "Luffy, you're so smart." And it's just like, what? But at the same time, I love this because I've been wanting to see more Luffy and Chopper interaction, man. It just seems like those two together, that could be really good comedy right there. Like it seems like you have more with Usopp and Chopper, with Chopper believing a lot of Usopp's tall tales. So I would like to see more Luffy and Chopper going forward. Hold on. The thing about this chapter with the air current kind of shooting up, what I thought was very interesting was the fact that what Oda did with that is he gave us a ticking clock going on, because he says this only happens a certain number of times, I believe 5 times throughout the whole year. It might be a year or a month, I can't quite remember, but it's only a certain number of times. And so right away we know that, oh shoot, there's something at stake here, because if they want to go to the Sky Island, what's going to happen is if it's not going to be in the immediate future, they have to leave and come back, because Nami points out if we stay here too long, then what's going to happen is our log is going to reset. And if our log resets, then we're locked on to the next island. And so I like what happens there, and that's when we get the big revelation. That's where a crux of this chapter review is going to focus on. What we find out is that basically it's going to happen tomorrow at noon, or the next day in One Piece time. And what happens is right after that revelation is given, Usopp says, wait a second, all this is way too convenient, all this is way too much of a coincidence. You mean to tell me you're going to help repair our ship, you're going to let us rest here, you're going to feed us, you're going to take us to this current where it happens to be in Masira's territory, you mean to tell me that you're going to give us everything we need in order to get there? And Usopp says, you are a descendant of Nolan the liar. And when I read that, I was like, you know, Usopp's got a really good point. You know, because for a minute when he said this is way too convenient, and I'm just going to warn you, I felt like I was reading like a Naruto or a fairy tale chapter, because I was going, oh shit, man, like that's how I feel when I read some of the things that happen in there. But you know, again, if you guys follow my reviews, like I like to give the author the benefit of the doubt. So when Usopp was doing this, it almost felt like I was watching myself kind of react to some of the chapters that I've reviewed for other series. But with that being said, you know, basically Cricket looks at him and he's like, look, man, you're a comrade. I'm not lying to you. I said it yourself. All this information I've given you is secondhand information that has been passed on you can believe it or not. And I remember when I was reading that, and Luffy was just like, oh, I believe it. And this is before Cricket even tells him anything. He's like, I believe it. And Usopp's like, no, 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 you hadn't heard anything. And I was really wondering at that point, if that's when Usopp started to say, he's the descendant of a liar. I'm the king of liars. Like, Usopp has that nose that has Pinocchio jealous as hell right now. Pinocchio's looking like, yo, dog, mine is longer than yours. It's almost like they have like a little pissing contest going on. So I like seeing how that was kind of thrown in there. And for a moment, we had a brief sense of conflict. But once again, Oda basically has another powerful character turning their back. And I thought that that was very key for Usopp's development, because what we end up seeing is Usopp is sitting with his knees up to his chest. And he's saying, Nami, am I really a coward? Am I that big of a liar? And Nami's just like, yeah, you're a liar. And a coward too. But don't worry about it. And I just like how Nami's just like, yeah, okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to go get something to eat. You make sure you go apologize to us, but like, I like that, because it's almost like Nami's saying, look, dude, I'm used to you lying. We're all used to you lying. We're used to you being a coward. We're used to you kind of doing your own thing whenever the action gets tough, the conflict gets, really, really tense. You come through when we need you, but at the same time, you run away whenever there's a chance to. So I like that, and I like how, once again, Nami and Usopp kind of playing off each other. And a big part of the reason why I feel like that dynamic works is, I've talked about before how Nami's kind of like the regular person of the crew, right? And in this case, Usopp is as well. Usopp is very talented at shooting, but also he's a hell of a liar too. Like, Usopp could be a politician, but he could be a veteran running for office. But the thing, I will vote for Usopp before I vote for either one of these two dumbasses running for office. Now, I hate to get political on you guys, but I can't help it. I just watched some shit on CNN. So I like that, but the thing is these two, it's like I want to see more of these two together. Like, if I had to pick two characters I want to see more interaction with them together, it'd be Nami and Usopp, because of the fact that they are the two normal people of the crew. And it's almost like you could look at them like they're useless. You could look at them like they're weak characters. And yet their strength is in the fact that, especially with Nami, there's nothing super extraordinary about them. But it's what makes them relatable. It's almost like you just take a regular person and place them in this extraordinary world. I think that's why Boku no Hero Academia, like My Hero Academia, whatever, like, the thing about it is, the reason why I think that works and why Black Clover is starting to work is, when you look at it, you have normal people. Asta, he was able to use like the magic or any magic, but for the most part, you had normal people inside this world with so many fantastical things going on. And that's what made it relatable, because you as a reader can look at a time where you say, damn, I remember being the black sheep out of, the whole flock. So I like that. And then I would like to see more Chopper and Luffy, because those two, it just seems like there's a comedy gold mine there that Oda hasn't really struck yet. And if Oda hasn't done it at this point, I really feel like he has a reasoning for it, because a lot of the laugh out loud moments with One Piece, when they happen, it's very organic, and the chemistry is just there with everyone in the crew at this point. Like I said in the other review, you can just take different members of the crew, put them together, and you got a comedic scene. So I like that bit. And when they're partying and drinking, you have Nico Robin back, and she's just chilled out reading. Looks like she's reading some type of book. And the thing is we find out that that's when they find about the gold and one of the skeletons, and Bellamy and his men are like, oh, they're watching from this, from way out in the ocean. So it's looking like Bellamy and them, they're gonna be antagonists. I can't wait to see Luffy knock the hell out of Bellamy. It's coming. I can't wait to see that, especially how he treated him before. Because if this is like a miniature redoing of Romance Dawn, not like scene by scene, but more so taking different elements and rehashing them, retweaking them. If this is the case, you're definitely going to see those two mesh back up, because that's what happened with Shanks. It's going to take something on Bellamy's part to make Luffy come at him, but I could definitely see it happening. But overall, pretty good chapter. Like I said, very good chapter, and when you look at it from world building, but if you just look at it from a casual fan perspective, this was a pretty good chapter. Not really, really great, just really good, or pretty good. So my chapter question for you guys is going to be, What were your thoughts about Usopp being so quick to call someone else a liar? Did you find it comical? Did it raise your suspicion? And what did you think about the fact that Cricket just basically turns his back on him and says, "You're my comrade"? What did you think about that? But as always, if you like anything I had to say, hit that like button, comment, rate, subscribe, share. Greatly appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys.